Disassemble! What's up, guys? It's Geeks with Wives and Capes, episode 42, maybe? I think so. We're your comic book, movie, and TV podcast. I'm here with, what, it looks like four co-hosts tonight. I'm going to go down and introduce them. Will, how's it going, Will?
I'm great, man. I'm back on my desktop computer, looking very professional again with my mic and,
You're
a
showing
nice
off
camera.
our guest.
I'm...
You sly dog, you.
Check me out, Erin. Hello.
Just in time. He's trying to audition.
I'm great. I'm great. Other than this ungodly heat we're having in California, I'm great.
I like how you have conveniently your Iron Man helmet propped up in the back,
You like
just
that?
over your left shoulder.
You like that?
I know you set that up,
there?
and you placed your computer camera just. You're like, all right, it's good,
Come on.
it's good.
Do you like the helmet? Excellent. Yes.
All right, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Chad, how's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. It's been a good week. It's been a hot week. Holy mackerel! I know most of us are in California here are cooking. I don't know how it is up there in the middle of California, but whoo, in Southern California, it's been brutal.
You know, we get everyone else's smoggy grossness.
Well, that's why you're the armpit of California up there.
That's right.
It's
And
terrible.
boy, it's a stinky armpit.
Oh, well, at least you're not on fire. Be thankful for that.
Yes. Thank you for not being on fire, friends.
Like the rest of California is.
It's on fire all around me. So all the
Well,
Long
be
Beach
careful.
fires and everything.
We don't want Disneyland to burn down. That'd be a
Or-
tragedy.
Yeah, well, that would be tragic. Okay, enough fires. Come on.
Oh my goodness, terrible. Okay,
What was
Andrew.
You said you drink a Red Bull, but man, you're not on your game tonight. What's
I know,
wrong?
I'm off.
It's the hair.
It's the hair.
Yeah,
It is there.
it's a lot of weight on my head.
You need to shave that bad boy because, man, Donald Trump wants it back.
I have a fear of barber. Donald Trump wish you could have my hair.
That's right.
You wish you could have my hair.
Me? No, I shave
That would
mine
be
off.
too hot.
That's absolutely true.
If I dyed my hair like blonde, me and Erin would be twins.
We would be identical.
Excellent.
Yes.
We could
Absolutely.
be like the Wonder Twins in a DC movie. It'd be
And
pretty
you
hot.
could be the person who had to turn into a bucket of water while I got to turn into all the awesome stuff.
The
Perfect.
worst power ever.
Yes.
Why don't you
Form
finish
of
introducing
ice
everybody?
I know. Sorry, we're getting
You're out of
sidetracked.
control
Andrew,
tonight.
Howdy, guys. Representing the video game side of the podcast, making my triumphant return to and capes, I guess.
I think you're our only return guest from the other podcast. So thank you
Yes.
Andrew, for coming on.
All right.
Please take
No.
Well, actually, Joe's been on
Like,
like
Andrew is a
That's
spy
pretty
for
close
the
to the
mother
time.
show. He is watching us all for the mother show. Be on your best behavior.
checking up on us.
Joe
You don't
once said,
introduce our co-hosts very well.
Joe once said on the video game podcast that he thinks that the capes is the nerdier of the two podcasts.
Whoa,
So as the guy who's jumping back and forth, what does that make me? I don't know.
That makes you the king of nerds.
That's a pretty lofty title.
Identity crisis.
It is. Also, I think it's a really bad show on TBS.
Yep, right on both fronts. Well, you do know more about Zelda than probably anybody on this table combined. So I think
That may be
that's,
true. My infamy is preceding me, I guess.
Indeed.
awesome. Well, nice to have you aboard, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Casey.
Tell your uncle Clint I said hi.
I will, yeah. Uncle Clint was going to give me a bow and arrow so I could do some demonstrations for you guys, but unfortunately we just couldn't get connected before the podcast today.
That's
Maybe next
you know that joke never gets old, Casey. It's almost as bad as me teasing Jeff Gordon and telling him to stick with NASCAR.
I know. It's like, I wrote down like ideas before the show. I was like, how can I incorporate Clint Barton in introducing Andrew?
You know, actually, every single time I have gone into a comics book store in the last 3 or 4 months, someone has made a reference to Hawkeye. So,
It's your destiny.
yeah, I suppose.
You start wearing more
It-
purple.
Well, actually, I wear a lot of purple.
Well, it's definitely.
It's my wife's favorite color, Geeks with Wives, so got to make the missus happy.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Good man.
Happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
So that brings us to our beautiful guest, esteemed voice actress, Erin Fitzgerald. How's it going, Erin?
Thank you. Hi, guys. It's great. It's freaking hot. It's so hot that I'm actually using an ice pack to keep cool. So,
Excellent.
other than heat, I'm fantastic.
I threatened to do the show shirtless tonight, and I got vetoed on that one.
Me too.
I did not get that memo.
Yeah. I think there would have been less vetoing on your end, Aaron. Sorry.
Well,
Just saying.
Google would have vetoed us real fast.
That's true.
It'd be the lost episode. But probably our most popular, so hey, it's a win-win. All right, well, Erin, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, how you got started in the whole voice acting game, your origin story, if you will?
Did you lose,
Uh-oh,
Aaron?
we lose her.
Damn
you, Internet!
This heat
Damn
and
you.
connections.
All right, well, that didn't go so well.
Aaron will be back. Why don't we go ahead and go straight into TV and stuff?
Since we had two big finales this week.
Yeah, we had some great finales. So why don't we just go straight into that stuff, Casey?
Wait, is she back? Oh no, I'm just tripping. Okay, so we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale this week. Kind of wrapping up the whole story arc of Captain America and our little S.H.I.E.L.D. team and what they're doing and trying to resurgence they're trying to create after the whole Hydra fall. So what did you guys think of the episode?
I'm still trying to pick up pieces of my brain from my head just exploding from the awesomeness that was that finale. It was freaking amazing. I'm at the sound of sounding like a wuss, so you guys calling me all kinds of weird names. So there was a few, emotional tears going on a couple times in the episode. It was just like so intense. There was so much emotion behind this episode, and it was just, it was like a roller coaster from beginning to end. It was just like amazing. I don't think they could have ended the season better.
I think my biggest complaint actually is that they didn't input a little more emotion by killing off a character.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things I've read is that, they kept threatening to kill somebody off or what Fitzsimmons or whatever his name is.
Well, the part where she's like, the only one of us are gonna survive, and then they both go up for air, and how do I understand the whole Nick Fury thing. That's fine. I get that part. Yeah. But he wasn't even supposed to survive the ascend up to the top of the ocean. So how the hell did he get? He survive the whole scenario?
We have Aaron back. Hi, Aaron.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why Google is kicking me out, but Google's not letting me tonight.
It's probably the heat. I'm telling you, this rarely happens, but man, there's probably some internet issues. The heat's bringing down lines. Who knows?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know what point I got cut off, so maybe that was where I was supposed to stop.
No.
No, we actually had just asked you to hear your origin story, how you got started in voice acting and everything. We're very interested in how you got fired up and started doing that.
Well, I studied as an actor. I'd kind of been acting since I was 3 years old. I'd always done characters and created skits and plays and forced everybody in the neighborhood to be in plays with me. And my dad was always really, really funny. He's a commander in the Canadian Navy, retired now, but he used to always do skits on board ship with his officers, and it used to be one of those points of inspiration for me. He was a huge Peter Sellers fan, and Peter Sellers is an amazing character actor. So I kind of, with my dad and the programming that my father loved, I got to really study some amazing character actors, including my father, who is not an actor, but he could have been. So I made it all the way to the professional realm, doing theater and TV and film in my early 20s, and that's when I met Michael Dobson, who's asked me why I wasn't doing cartoons, because I seem to be made for cartoons, and that's kind of the moment when my entire life made sense all of a sudden. All the accents, the voices, the characters, the crazy, wacky things I was doing vocally just in conversations with my friends because I couldn't stop myself from doing it. And I would do it for days. Like, I'd find a character, and then I'd be that character for a number of days just to irritate everybody. So when I immediately, I actually got, in the dream state, a complete idea of how to do a voice demo, which I had never heard anybody else's voice demo before. And so I woke up from the dream state and I wrote it all down, and then I went about actually creating exactly what came to me, and I made that, and I got an agent right away from that demo, and my first audition was for a little show for a brand new network called Cartoon Network, and the show was called Ed, Edd and Eddy, and that was my first real job.
That's so cool.
Well, and I was looking at everything you've done. I mean, you just must be on a list. If we need somebody great, let's call Erin. I mean, you must get calls like every day to do voice. I mean, you just have done everything.
I just that would be amazing. I wish the universe worked like that. I don't get calls every day. My career is like probably every voice actor's career in Los Angeles. I mean, Los Angeles is filled with some incredible talent of actors, incredible, and the voice actors are the actors who have the capacity to do a character work. I find a lot of theater-based or comedy-based, stage-based people go into voice acting because that's where we shine the most. And I'm really blessed. Like, seriously, I'm fully aware at how difficult it is for a woman to be working in this industry regularly as a job. So yeah, I'm really lucky I'm able to do that. I'm gonna sneeze.
That's okay. We'll just it's act.
Oh, there we go.
We'll edit it out.
I was trying to fit it in. Yeah, so
That was cute.
I do get called. I mean, there are people who work with me who do call me, and when they know they need something specific that's within my wheelhouse. But those are people who know me really well and work with me all the time and have gotten to see my range. But a lot of the time I'm working for people for the first time and they barely know me and they don't know. I'll work for one company doing like 3 or 4 voices, and then another company will use me for a completely different set of voices, neither company knowing that I do the other kinds of voices because I booked whatever they audition me for. So it takes a while to build relationships and for people to see exactly what you're able to do.
So you started with at least with voice work with Ed, Edd and Eddy, and then we see, and actually that's one of the reasons Andrew wanted to be part of it, that you've done a lot of video game work. How does that transition happen? I mean, is it very similar? Is it a totally...
Well, there was no video game work when I started. There was no such thing as voiceover in video games when I started my career in voice acting. I was doing cartoons because that's all there were. My very first video game job was a game called Kessen, and I think it was Kessen 2? I don't know. You have to look at Wikipedia. Wikipedia's got a great layout of all my credits. It's pretty accurate. But it's Kessen, I remember. And I remember going in, and it's so different. It was the first time I went in for a video game because video games were brand new using voices. And there was no other actors in the room. And I'm like, what am I doing? And all the script was just the lines of my character. I'm like, well, I don't even know what's going on. What is this? This is crazy. It's kind of like anime, except the director's like, well, we're going to give you even less information. So I'm like, oh, it was great. And there's no video, and it wasn't like dubbing or anything like that. So it was a whole other animal, and it was kind of exciting. And nobody knew if it was going to catch on, this whole voice acting in video games. It wasn't a necessity because all the games back then were amazing without the voiceover. They didn't require it. But when I moved to the States, my very first video game job that got me my work visa actually in Los Angeles was for Spawn Armageddon. Getting to play the Angels and Wanda, and I was a huge Spawn fan, watching the series on HBO, and that was a pretty big deal for me, and that was very exciting. And from there, it opened a ton of video game doors for me. That was a great project for me, and that kind of, the rest is history now. And I love working on video games because that's kind of my bread and butter. I'm a video game girl. Now, crazily enough, I'm like the JRPG girl. Like, who knew that I would be the JRPG girl? I didn't know that I would work so much in that realm, and I love it because I find that the female characters are really satisfying, and the male characters that I get to play. They're just really, there's so much arc and growth in the character development, you know what I mean? It's really juicy. I enjoy that.
How do you feel about the way they're dressed?
Oh, I don't care. I don't, because honestly, my very first job was for an anime. My first dubbing job for an anime was for a show called Saber Marionette J. And
I know that show.
Andrew,
oh my
laugh is
goodness.
scary.
Like that was an education in costuming that I wasn't prepared for at that age. And I remember my character coming out and she was wearing nothing but a fishbowl for underwear. Like the fishbowl, I don't know how it hung in front of her, but it hung in front of her. Like there's a fishbowl. It's defying gravity, and I don't even know what covered her hellos. I have no idea. I remember thinking the whole time going, this is not right. And my character was a real submissive character. Like, Master, can I get you a bath? Master, can I do something? And I hated that. I was I can't say that line. Look at how she's dressed. I can't be this girl. And the director had to literally talk me down because I was in such a feminist rage about it. It was like, it was my first anime. What are you going to do? I didn't know. I didn't understand. Now I'm like, nothing. And the funny thing is, my characters have gotten, you know, they're even skimpier. The dress has gotten skimpier. But I've not played a character like that in a skimpy costume again. Like, when my characters are skimpy costumes, they're kicking your ass. You know what I mean? They don't need a man's help. They don't need a man for anything. They are handling the business. So you can look, but don't touch.
Nice.
So Andrew, what about the video game stuff that Erin's done? What brought you on tonight?
Yes.
Well, you know, actually, I think the first place that I really learned about you, Erin, was playing through Persona 4 Golden. And Chie, by the way, fantastic character. I, too, harbor a great love for steak. So I feel like she and I instantly had this bond.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know, you're playing a basically a typical everyday high school student, and crazy stuff starts happening, and so you're trying to manage like your school normal personal life with the craziness that's going on, supernatural, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But Chie is one of your fellow students, and so that's where I first found out about you. And so when they said that you were coming on this show, I was really excited, and then I started looking through your IMDb page, and then I was like,
which is
noticing
terribly inaccurate, by the way. IMDb is like the worst place to look up my crap. Just telling you.
Okay, well maybe
What
I'll
did you
look up
discover?
your Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But I have found that you have been in several games that I've played. Danganronpa, Shin Megami Tensei 4, and Tales of the Abyss.
Oh yeah.
And so all these games just started coming up, and I thought, well, first off, I made the immediate connection that you brought up, that you seem to be in all the JRPGs. Every single one that's ever made seems to be have you involved in it. So I really wanted to jump in and hear what you had to say, just because I just am apparently a big fan, and I didn't even know.
Hey, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. People don't have to know who I am to be a big fan of the character of the games, and that's kind of the awesomeness of this particular job, where I can keep my anonymity. But I love, like, I'll troll the internet and look for fan art of all of my characters, and then I can see just how loved that character is, and if the character's getting love, I take that I did my job well. You know, that I didn't annoy people to death. Some characters I have, and I know which characters those are, and I don't mind, because sometimes it's my job to annoy, depending on how the character's written, you know. But that's really fun. That's cool. Very nice. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I just thought it was, well, like you said, there's a huge fan base out there, and I think that getting into the JRPG and the anime, I mean, those are some really rabid fan bases. So if you can get in good with them, I mean, you have like a cult following for life, right? So
and you never know what's going to hit, like when you're working on a game. Like when I first recorded Hyperdimension Neptunia, I'm like, what a crazy name! That's never going to catch on. Boy, was I wrong. And there was no way I could have predicted that my character was going to end up being a hugely popular character. They made a game around her. That had nothing to do with me. That just has to do with the creators. But I'm so shocked, when I'm like, how did this happen? How did I get to play this character that blew up? I feel like that for Noir and Hyperdimension Neptunia, and for Chie and Persona 4, Golden and Arena, and Arena, you Ultimax, it's coming. We recorded that, I'm allowed to say. Yay!
Nice.
So that's really, it's just one of those mind-blowing things. I don't know how that happened. I'm very, very grateful that it did happen. I guess it's par for being in the industry. Like, that's just part of what happens when you do this kind of a job.
So sorry, Chad. So was there's something about the JRPGs specifically that spoke to you and pulled you into it, just because that seems to be...
I audition for everything. I'm an actor. I audition for everything. I feel, and this might get a little bit too, I don't know, I like quantum physics and stuff like that, but I don't. So I feel that...
Get nerdy on us, girl. It's okay.
Okay, good. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get that. I feel that every person... resonates at a certain vibration, and whatever that vibration is that you're resonating at, that's what you attract into your universe, into your reality. And I find that I don't resonate at that place that books me, violent, gory death games. I don't attract those into my universe. I attract the stuff into my universe that resonates with me actually as a human being, that I get really, I'm so impressed at the stuff that I get to be in. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, having just said that I was in Danganronpa, but that was awesome. Like, that's different than Resident Evil for me. Like, that's a different, there's more, I like that comedy edge to things that are a little bit softer. So I don't mind the violence and the gore when it's mixed with that comedy and that silliness at the same time, and it's more, not as harsh. Like, I can go to sleep at night and not have nightmares, because the games that, like, even, like, I recorded Catherine, loved that game, it was a great game, played it all the way up till that tongue monster started chasing me, and I'm like, I can't play this game anymore. This tongue monster, it's scaring the crap out of me. I couldn't do the puzzles while the tongue thing is chasing me. It grossed me out, and I was getting nightmares, and I'm like, this was such a beautiful game to record, and now it's like this horrible horror game I can't finish. So I haven't finished that game yet, actually.
Well, it's almost kind of the reverse of Danganronpa, where Danganronpa appears to be like a horror story with the comedy edge, and then Catherine is more of like a little bit of that romantic comedy, romantic thriller kind of thing, but it's got that scary, frightening horror edge to it. So
right.
It's almost like the inverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally see what you're saying. I was trying to explain to Will and Casey what Danganronpa was before you jumped on, and I couldn't really get them to pronounce it right, let alone try to explain what it was. But
I like to honestly, the closest thing that I can do for explanation is it's like Battle Royale, the movie. That's as close as I can get to it without giving anything away.
I'm listening.
It's a big favorite of. I always hear Colin Moriarty talking about it.
Awesome.
With Greg Miller, he's always talking about Danganronpa on Podcast Beyond. So I haven't played it.
They never really talked about it when I went to see Up at Noon with Greg. So
and that's why I brought it up, because you went and did a podcast with Greg. That looked like a very cool thing. That
was one of the best days of my life. Those guys are such a great group of guys, and just to hang out with, they're so sweet and so awesome and so knowledgeable and so funny. It was really fun. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah, Colin did our game podcast a while back.
Awesome.
They're quite a bit bigger than us, of course, but they're a cool podcast.
You're on your way.
Yeah, well, hopefully. We're not IGN yet.
Awesome.
So when you're handed or you audition for a role,
Yeah.
how does that come about? Are they giving you, we're looking for a character with maybe these kind of characteristics, and then you put together the persona and you present it? How does that start? How does that process begin with you?
Well, I'll use Danganronpa as an example because that was a crazy audition because there were so many parts. They gave me a list of all the characters they wanted me to read for. The character comes with a character breakdown describing who the character is without giving anything away. You can imagine what one of those characters that I ended up voicing that's listed. That was a little crazy. Like, that audition took a long time for me to put together because for one of the characters there were a lot of different aspects that I had to bring to it. And then I record it in a booth that I have in the closet of my house, and then it turns into an MP3 and I email it in. And so I emailed for that. I think there was like, I don't know, I feel like there were 10 different files I emailed in for that game audition. And yeah, it was well worth the time and the effort.
So, guys, how many of you just heard I auditioned for jobs, or I in a closet of my house, and thought, man, I need that. I've got 3 kids, man. If I could, try and get a job in the closet of my house, that'd be awesome.
I did jobs from the closet of my house. That actually happened.
I think if I had 3 kids, I would probably have a soundproof closet in my house too.
Well,
it's called a panic room.
I'd put them in there. What are you talking about?
I did record the role of Yoan for Lord of the Rings Online, Riders of Rohan. I recorded that entire gig out of my closet.
Wow.
So that was
How did you get swords and armor in there?
Oh, it was really difficult. And you know what? That is the only serious challenge about recording in my closet is when I'm doing fight stuff, I can't move my arms the way I would if I were in a regular studio. I ruin takes because I accidentally hit the wall or the door. I'm like, ooh, sorry. I gotta do it again. I got a little carried away.
I can imagine a bunch of holes punched in your closet walls.
I padded it so that I haven't punched holes, but yeah, that would definitely be a problem if there was no padding.
At least you can tack an ex-boyfriend's face up there and just go crazy if you really need to.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not angry at any of my exes like that. We're actually all friends, but I'm glad to know a little bit more about you.
Apparently you never dated Casey.
No. I'm like Tyrion.
Yes.
So, you did a ton of voices. I have to ask because I do bring it up. I have 3 daughters.
Oh,
so, and my oldest loves Monster High.
Is she there?
We just put him. Well, my wife says she can go get her up.
Go get her.
Well, okay, she'll go get her. But
this isn't a meet and greet. This is a professional radio show here.
I'll put her on for a minute.
Who's her favorite character?
Well, she'll have to tell you.
There's a lot of characters.
Yeah, you don't know who your favorite kid's character is? Come on.
How would I know that? There's those kind of shows. Characters. Yeah, and you do quite a few of them. I
do 8 characters on Monster High and 7 characters on Ever After High. Yeah.
Wow.
How do you keep that many people straight?
I ask when I go in, do you have a voice reference?
I'm going to let you put the headphone on. You can ask her. Okay, so she's here.
What's her name?
Her name is Sophia. And Sophia, you can ask her a question about Monster High, okay?
Chad, tell her no racial slurs.
No. I don't... Casey.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Sophia. I hear you're a fan of Monster High.
I am.
Who are your favorite characters?
Frankie.
She's a good one. Who else?
Lagoon of the Blue.
Isn't she amazing? I don't voice any of those, I'm sorry, but I do voice the character, do you know Abby Abominable?
Yeah, I have her.
You do? So I play Abby, so this is how she talk, yes?
Yeah.
And then I also play Spectra Vondergeist reporting for Monster High. Do you know Spectra?
Yeah.
Do you know Rachel Goyle? She went to the school in Scaris, but do you know her now?
No.
You don't know Rachel Goyle? That's okay.
No.
But do you watch the cartoon sometimes?
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Do you have any questions about Monster High? You don't have to have a question.
I do.
You do. What's your question?
Um, why doesn't it play often?
Well, that is an excellent question. I ask Mattel that all the time. They say it's because they have a lot of other things going on. There's another show that they're doing called Ever After High, and I work on that the other parts of the time. So they're kind of busy with all the other shows. I think that's why. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I've seen a couple episodes of Ever After High.
Oh, yeah? I am Raven Queen, daughter of the evil queen, and I choose my own destiny.
Nice.
Do you know Raven Queen?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, we're good. It was very nice to meet you, sweetheart.
She's shocked with
You
silence.
too.
Have a good sleep.
You too.
All right, I saw a lot of smiling faces, so I'm hoping that was fun.
She
Yeah.
asked the hard-hitting questions.
She did. That was really sweet. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, no, thank you for doing that. I know she's been excited because I think we planned this, about a month ago, and she's been excited the whole time. Keeps asking me about you and all kinds of stuff, so.
Oh, good.
Definitely our cutest moment, Chad. Thank you.
Yeah, just as long as you don't want to replace me with her.
And we got to hear a bunch of awesome voices.
And I'll let Frankie and Laguna know that those are her favorite characters. You know, those actors are happy to know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question before these guys cut me off again.
Hurry up, Will.
Yeah, Erin, how much of your time would you say is spent recording at home versus recording in a studio? Do you notice that because of advances in technology, you have more the ability to do more recording at home than you would say in the past?
The time I spend recording at home is mostly auditions.
Okay.
I would maybe once or twice a month. Not even that much. Maybe once every other month do I record a session at home. But almost every day I'm recording auditions from home, for sure. But my day is spent driving to the valley to the different studios and recording there. Yeah. Thank goodness, because they have better air conditioning and food.
In the valley. So how do you know? We started talking to you through actually one of our contributors, one of my good friends, Steve. So how do you and Steve know each other? Because obviously Steve does his cartoon and has voice actors, and that he knows a lot of voice actors. Have you done any work with him, or you guys just have met?
No, we bump into each other all the time, and that's been he's a fun new friend for me. We keep bumping into each other, and we're like, interesting. Wonder what this means. So that's been really, really fun. I really adore him, and his work is fantastic. He works with some of my friends on Super Pirate Booty Hunter, right?
Yeah, the Super Pirate Booty Hunt, yeah.
Because that Booty Hunt, I don't want to mess up the name I have before. That's a lot of words to have to remember. Super Pirate Booty Hunt. Yes. Yeah.
No, that was perfect. No, yes, Steve is one of the geeks now. He's officially come on board with us.
Awesome. He's a great dude. Really like him. Yeah.
Steve and I have been friends for several years, so he's actually going to be over here tomorrow night for my wife's birthday.
Tell him I say hello.
I will.
Expect drunken text from Chad.
That's right. I do have your number now, Erin.
Watch out.
Hey, Erin, I have another question. I'm going to be very mad if I don't ask you this. Voice acting is something I've always been really interested in. It's something that's always been God, I'd love to do that, but I have no clue where I would start to even venture into that realm. What's some advice you can offer to somebody like me who's interested in that?
I feel like I'm very dated when it comes to this because I came in at so it's such a lot. I mean, when Cartoon Network just started is when I started.
Right.
So what I know about it is so different from what the possibilities are now.
Yeah.
I of course, my classic, information is usually study acting, make sure you've got all that vocal training that comes with stage acting, because you're going to use that you need that endurance to get through a 4-hour session, hold a voice, not just a voice, but hold the character plus save the universe, because that's what you're doing in video games. It's always stakes are ridiculously high, and it's quite an exhausting job.
Yeah.
And then just go for it, whatever that means to you. I know people are doing it, you know, there's all these great places for people to work with animators online and do all this online stuff. If you can do that, I say absolutely do that. If you live in LA and you can get onto the circuit of auditions there, then absolutely do that. I don't know how one breaks in anymore. I think that insanely competitive now, and I'm really grateful that I'm in long before this climate, because the talent that I'm competing against, you know, scares the crap out of me. So I can't imagine, you know, just starting out. I don't even know what that looks like. I just say if it's in your heart and it's a passion, then do it. Just do it. Just do it to do it. Don't worry about whether you're getting paid. Don't worry about whether I still do projects that are free because I believe in the project, because I want to help somebody's new, and it keeps me inspired, and it keeps me honest, and it, you know, and it keeps me from focusing on the crap that actors in LA can end up focusing on, and I don't want to end up down that path, because there's not a lot of love in that path. I want to keep the love, and the love is usually where the creators and people are just building something new. I like that creative energy of people just going for it and creating something out of nothing. Those people impress the hell out of me.
Awesome.
Hang around those people.
Awesome, thank you.
I mean, we can't be friends anymore, Will.
You guys.
and that's probably why, you know, why you get along with Steve, because you basically described him and David. I mean, they've been just plugging away at that, you know, for years, and you know, they've won a lot of awards and everything, and they're just that hair's breadth away. I know David's been pitching stuff, and actually
tipping point. They'll hit a tipping point.
Yeah.
There's always a tipping point. It's just about putting the hours in. If you put the hours in, then life just tips over at some point. There's no getting around it. It's about putting in the hours. And the hours don't mean that you'll be paid for those hours. You just have to if you love it, you just do it. Sure. And if you don't love it anymore, then you stop doing it, because there's just no point of wasting your time on something you don't love.
Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I show up to the Todd's Podge every week.
That was like a love poem.
All right. So to segue into our next segment, Erin, are there any comic book characters that you were just dying to do that you haven't got a chance to do?
Oh, this is not a comment at all on Vanessa Marshall's awesomeness, but I would have killed to be Wonder Woman at some point in my life. But, it doesn't look like it's in my future.
Well, even what's her name? Nikita. She voiced Wonder Woman in a couple of the movies recently too. What is her?
Yeah, she did. But I'm kind of at that school when somebody is known as that voice. Like, I'm not interested in infringing on that person's character, unless that person is walking away from that character. I remember that even recently there was an audition for a superheroine character that a friend of mine voices, that she's the voice for. So I immediately called her and said, "Hey, look, do you know that there's these sides going out for your character?" And she was like, "What?" Checked it out, and it all got resolved, and I felt good in my heart that I had done the right thing. So I love it when I hear my friends are booking those, you know, iconic characters, and when somebody's complete with doing the job, then I'm happy to step in and do the role. But unless they just want something completely different, and that happens too. Sometimes a completely different company will get rights to something and they just don't want the originals, and that happens. And when that happens, you know, you just go with it as an actor. It doesn't feel great, but you know, that's getting Chie the way I got Chie was kind of like a best case scenario, because the other actress was walking away, but it could have been so awkward, and it's still awkward because I'm still the second Chie, and people still, you know, we always talk about it in conversations with people, so it's always, I don't know how to feel about that. I know
I just imagine that interaction at cons.
As much as possible.
I just imagine that interaction at cons. Ugh, she's the second Chie.
You know what? There are a few people. There are a few people, and you know what? And I think that's great, because that honors the original actress too, who did a great job. Just totally different flavor. That's all.
No, shame on them. So we'll go right into the comics we read this week. Will, you want to go first?
Why do you always make me go first?
a line of boxes in my bottom here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, first you guys already talked about the other one, so I'll just talk about this one. This week I read Afterlife with Archie #5.
I love that cover so much.
Was
I got
that
to.
looks amazing.
I got to get a variant cover this week, the first time since I've been reading this amazing comic. For Erin, if you're not familiar with this comic book, this is Archie and zombies, basically.
That's awesome. I'm a huge Archie fan. Read all the Archie comics growing up. I have no idea that there was a zombie version.
You need to pick this up then.
Apparently.
As a zombie apocalypse has broken out in Riverdale.
That is awesome. What is Jughead doing? Is he a zombie?
Unfortunately, he was the first zombie.
Of course. See, that resonates. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So so we're at the point where it's basically come to the head. Most of our main characters are held up in Lodge Manor, and they've come to the point where they're either gonna basically be killed inside of this manor and all eaten by zombies, or they have to make an escape. So I won't spoil it for you, but that's where we're at. As always, the writing in this is great. It's got that classic, perfect Archie art style that's done by Francesco Francavilla.
Awesome.
And you have some really cool covers like this, so definitely check this out. That's the new one I read. I'm sure you guys talked about Loki last time, didn't you?
I didn't talk about it at all.
You didn't talk about it?
I haven't read it yet, to be honest. Ooh, I'm a little behind.
What's wrong with you, man?
Dude, I read so many comics now. It's
I
funny.
know you do. They were continuing with Sigurd and the whole, after they had that tale where he tempted Odin's father and all that other stuff, and we got Sigurd at the end of that.
Yep.
This kind of continues on to that, and he's.
I like the last page.
Which the last page of this comic?
Yeah.
Where he's talking to everybody?
Yeah.
He's gonna go on some mission of something. I don't remember.
I like that. Like, he's not a bad guy anymore. He's like this fun, like whimsical, like character, and him and Thor like kind of get along a little bit. But like,
he's kind of the fun trickster Loki, without the evil like let's kill everybody part of it himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And it's funny they get to bring in these cool characters, and you get. Like Thor at the last page wearing like an AHA t-shirt, which I thought was great. I was like, what?
Nice.
Yeah. So.
And he's sexually ambiguous, which is always nice in comics.
He is. They kind of broaden Loki's horizons a little bit on this one. So. Yeah. So check it out, Loki, Agent of Asgard. I love it. It's fun. It's always fun. He's always got some crazy like caper or mystery he's got to solve, or some Asgardian that he's atoning for his sins, and he's basically been contracted by the All-Mother to bring in Asgardians that they want back on Asgard. So he's always got some crazy mission going on. But yeah, and this week was no exception, and leaves us for something big next time. So
Nice.
okay, yeah, I just read those two, and then I read our big discussion one. So we can talk about that when you guys get through with yours.
That comic is hilarious. Chad, did you read anything this week?
You know what? I
no.
did actually read
shit.
for once. I got a chance to read a comic. I read Walking Dead 127, which was a huge double issue. The last time I talked about number 126, and it was the end of All Out War, and Rick had finally defeated Negan. And I said I felt that it wasn't over. And it was. It was, but Negan isn't over. And 127 is great. They did something that, I hadn't been reading, message boards or anything. So it was very unexpected for me. My friend actually, she brought it over, and she goes, you need to... I was like, hey, let me flip through it. No. She puts it to the side. She goes, you don't even want to spoil this, like it was this treasure, and wouldn't let me look at it because we were walking out the door to go somewhere, and she's like, no, you can't. Yeah, we're on our way out to Sci-Fest. She goes, no, you can't even flip through it. You're going to spoil it for yourself. And I'm glad she did that because I sat down, and they basically moved forward. They haven't said how long. They basically let you decide based on things that have gone on, but the community now in the comic has moved forward. It could be a couple of years. It could be, I would say, no more than 2 or 3 years. But basically the threat of zombies is under control, and they have communities, and they're rebuilding trade and agriculture and all this really cool stuff, and you're wondering all along kind of what's going on, or, where's Negan and everything, and it does end and kind of tell you what's going on with him, and he's not done as a character. But I think it's pretty great that there's probably another season or two in the TV show that is left for them to pull from the comics from, and this gives them a good jumping off point. And I know I've talked to you about it, Casey. I know I've talked to other people where it really bothers me how old Carl is, but how young he's supposed to be in the show. And
Right.
I have a feeling, because he looks like he's about 30 now on TV, and he's supposed to be like 9.5 or 10. I mean, he's supposed to, and he's enormous. This gives them a way out with this, because they do this jump in time where now he's a teen. So if they move into this, I think it kind of, because Robert Kirkman is doing the comic and is also doing the show.
Right, it's a Game of Thrones kind of idea.
Yeah, I think it's one of his way outs, or it could be a way out to deal with characters in the way they have aged.
Nice.
But it's fantastic. I loved it. I love that we're not in the same place. We're not just trudging through the same few months. We're actually now years into the apocalypse and seeing what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a big change for that book.
Yep, huge change.
Andrew, did you read anything this week?
Yeah, actually, well, I've been at a work conference for the past week, so I swiped my wife's Kindle, and I've been doing a little bit of reading. It's from a really small comic. I don't think we've talked about it on the show yet. It's called Superior Spider-Man.
Never heard of it.
But Casey, I really think you would like it.
It sounds like crap.
Wait, is that the one where Dr.
I've been
over Spider-Man's body? Dan Slott ruined that shit for life.
you
Hashtag
nailed it right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been slowly working my way through it, and I've been enjoying the heck out of it. But we've treaded pretty well on the show before, so I'm not really going to be able to add much to the conversation, I'm sure, since you guys have pretty well fleshed it out. But
It's the podcast 1 through 41.
yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Casey's beat that dog, man, and that horse, and it was dead a long time ago.
Go read it. I dare you. Well, good. I'm glad
that
you
being
enjoyed
said,
it, Andrew.
thank you for the recommendation. Yeah.
And I hope you're reading all the other books I'm sending you, because if you're not, you're really angry.
Oh, well, I most certainly am. That was just my specific assignment this past week.
I know, I'm just kidding. Just giving you a hard time, because I don't get to see you that much.
Do you read any comics, Erin?
I do. There's a company. Wait, where did there's a company that I work. How did I end up over here? Oh. There's a company that I work for, and they make their own comics, PCB Productions, and they did this kind of like app comic called Infex, which was super badass. It has, like, I know Kari Walgren's in it, Liam O'Brien, like, really heavy voice talent is in this. Like, it's like a graphic novel comic app. It's an adventure, but it's interactive, and I'm really into all the stuff that they've been coming out with, because it's been really taking comics to a whole other interactive level of awesomeness. I'm very excited for everything that they're doing.
Yeah, I'll have to get their information offline. Maybe we can get them on, or they can.
Yeah, PCB Productions.
Would love to review that. They could send us a review or something, and we could talk about it just like we're talking about this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get that info with you. I got your email, but yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is really amazing stuff. They launched Infex. I don't know if that's the right word. Launched. There was a big last Comic-Con.
That's a good word for it.
That was
perfect. That was my word for it.
That's exactly what they do at
Comic-Con. They did, like, this really cool interactive party for it. It was just, dude, they're super badass. When it comes to comics, they take it to a whole other awesome level.
I think that's the only way to do digital stuff. Like, I really am not a fan of just the plain old digital stuff. I think if you're gonna do it, make it move a little, like shake a little, give it a little music, give it a little voice.
Exactly. And they do. And it feels a little bit like an interactive game too, even though it's not. It just the way that they take you on the journey, it really feels like you're going on a journey in this story. And the story is intense and it grabs you by the balls and it's just, woo, hello, where do we go from here? Okay.
So
Maybe motion
it's-
comics is how they bring back the choose your own adventure.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you don't actually choose the adventure, but it feels like you are, because I can't even, you know what, there are no words because I've never experienced anything like it. That's why.
It's not. I think I've seen some stuff like that. Like my kid, they have the Marvel. It sounds similar, but they have it where it'll read along with it and it's voiced over and it'll be the Hulk and it'll read a Hulk comic and story.
That's
to them and stuff
awesome.
like that. So they ever since they were little, instead of Hello Kitty, they've gotten the Hulk and the Avengers and stuff read to them on the iPad. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so if anybody's interested, just Google INFEX, infex.
infects. Okay.
Sounds scary.
It is scary. Super scary. Yeah.
All right, I have a huge stack this week, so I'm gonna run through them rather quickly. So if there's anything you want me to stop on, you just holler at me. Okay. All right. First one up.
We'll holla at
First
you.
one.
I'm gonna mute my mic.
Yeah, you might as well. That's good. First one up this week. DC's Superman summer event, Doomed. Basically, it's the return of Doomsday. His first appearance, well, not his first appearance in New 52, but his first kind of reintroduction into the Superman world and him fighting Superman and then going back at it. It's really cool. I just don't like the idea of kind of introducing a character that Superman's already beat and then having him handily beat him again. But it's to set up a whole bigger story, which I understand what they're trying to do. I'm not sure how much I'm into it. It's also kind of another like infection story. There's like a virus involved and all this, like people are infected with stuff. So
Is it another one of those cross
literally
several
deal with
different
that?
books stories?
yeah, and then that's another issue too. Is like three books came out in the series in the same week, so that's a big burden on someone that wants to like keep up with the story. I'm not like a side issue person. I can usually figure it out without the side issues. But if you are that side issue person, you had to get 3 books this week to get the full story. So it's a lot to take in. But if you like Superman, probably you want to check it out. What I'm really excited for is actually Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. to come in and take over the book, so I'm kind of just waiting for that to happen.
See, that leads into one of the issues I have. Where stuff like that. See, I won't pick it up now because I don't want to be forced to buy a bunch of books I don't care about. I mean, honestly, I know they did that with Hell on Earth, and I got through like 4 issues, and they make you buy Superboy and Supergirl and everything that's not
Right.
selling, trying to force you into selling copies of those books.
Here's
a
a
lot
tip.
of them do. They all do it, but not a ton. But the problem is instead of getting one every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and you buy it or whatever, they're releasing part of the story every week or a couple in a week. So man, I don't have that much time to read it, let alone at $4 or $5 a pop to buy all of them. Jesus.
Right. Here's a little tip for those event stuff. Usually the best ones to buy, because you really don't have to buy them all unless you're just obsessed. But the best ones to buy are the tie-in books or whoever is writing the main story. So if like say Jonathan Hickman's writing the story, you're gonna want to buy Thor because he's gonna have that story tied into the most, and it's gonna make the most sense, and it's gonna all fit together the best because he's writing both stories.
That's really good advice.
And that way you can kind of you don't have to pick up all the issues, just pick up the stories. For example, I didn't do this. I was not following my own advice, but Original Sin came out this week for the Avengers, and honestly, I picked it up because I love the cover, and I love the idea of this book. And basically, what's happening is Marvel's big event right now is called Original Sin, and what happened is the Watcher was killed and his eyes were stolen, and so now all these like secrets about everybody are kind of coming out. And a big secret that was going on in Captain America's life is that he was brainwashed by the Illuminati, who are the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. So Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, Tony Stark. So they basically made him do a really, really bad thing, and then after they did it, they wiped his memory of it.
Wow.
So this book is the ramifications of that whole idea, and I really loved it because it's Civil War again. Like Captain America is super pissed, and he goes after Tony Stark's throat, and basically they fight it out. And it's really kind of a cool scene. It's really setting up a cool idea, and the end is really really handled well, and the idea of the Infinity Gems are kind of back in play, which is a perfect segue into what's going to happen in the movies the next couple years. In fact, the final moment of the book is probably my favorite moment in the whole book, and it involves the time gem and its reappearance in this universe. So really cool stuff, really great art by Lyndall Yu, as always. I really love this scene right there. You see Captain America with the Infinity Gauntlet. So it's really, really cool imagery and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it, but that's a tie-in. Necessarily, you didn't have to pick up. It's not related to the main story of Original Sin, but it gives you a little bit of insight of what's happening around an event. Not written by the Original Sin writer. It's actually written by Hickman.
So, speaking, let me interrupt you real quick. So, speaking of comics, my wife just reminded me. I meant to ask you, Erin. I kept seeing on Wikipedia and IMDb something about Batgirl Year One, and I've never heard of that. What is that?
It is a motion comic that you can get on iTunes, and I got to be Black Canary, Vicky Vale, a couple other extra voices on that. Yeah, it was literally just going through the Batgirl Year One comic and just voicing it.
Where can we find that? Do you know?
iTunes.
iTunes? Okay.
Just on
99
sale,
cents. I'm pretty sure it's 99 cents. Batgirl
Year One. Sale like a month ago. They had a bunch of those Year One stories on sale, and that was one of them.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. I did it a few years ago. She
just got to meet Gail Simone, so she's on a Batgirl kick. I bought her Batgirl, so she's.
I really like it. I thought they did a great job. I was really impressed. It was like, it's just fun. It feels like the comic book, because it is the comic book, just a little movier.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's something you can sit on the couch and read with your TV.
Yeah.
So what else did I read? I guess we can talk about Axe Cop. Let's talk about Axe Cop. Did you guys read Axe Cop?
No.
Yeah.
Just Will read it?
I read it.
What'd you think of Axe Cop?
So, I don't have kids, and for those of the listeners that don't, if you've ever talked to like an 8-year-old and he tells you a story and he's like, and then there was like this dinosaur and like a Tyrannosaurus Rex came and like ate the guy, but he had like a giant ninja star that he threw. That's basically what the whole comic is.
It's more like five.
It's like complete nonsense. It's amazing. It's funny.
You realize
it's really
written by a 10-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is written by a 10-year-old?
Yeah. It's written by a 10-year-old.
The premise of the book, and it's actually a TV show on Fox now, is it's this guy and his brother. So the brother's a little kid. It actually started when he was 6, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So he would just tell him stories, and then he would write a script for the story that his brother was telling him, and then draw it all up and make a comic book out of it. So yeah, it's a total like ridiculous rant of a child made into a comic book, and it's hilarious.
like the names of the characters are just like what was like Chicky Chick Man and like like there's a guy in a plum suit and he's called Plum Plum. And he can grow spikes and roll at you in a ball. It's like
it sounds like Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, sure.
It's crazy nuts. I mean, everyone's axe everything. Like everyone, he's obsessed with axes for some reason. I don't know.
There's Super Axe, and there's Captain Axe, and there's Axe Cop, and there's.
My favorite part's the beginning where he's like president of the world, and he's like, "No, I don't want to be president of the world anymore. I'm gonna leave my wife and kids and go be."
I just want to be the president of fighting everything. That's what he says. It's hilarious.
And then my favorite part is it's written by a 10-year-old and he's chopping people's heads off like left and right.
Yeah.
That's pretty Come on, you guys don't remember being 10?
No, I know. It's just funny.
It's like ninja chop
Barbies, and then it escalated.
He just karate chopped his head right off. It's kind of like that thing.
And the best part is, there's a cartoon on Fox late at night of this comic book, and it's voiced by Ron Swanson. from Community.
Awesome.
So he's Axe Cop, and then it fits
Love
perfectly.
him. Oh, that's so
And
perfect.
every time I read it now, that's all I can hear is his voice.
Awesome.
So it's perfect. And then there's like an even more like manlier like Axe Cop guy than him, and it's really just hilarious.
That's awesome.
So if you guys just want to read something absurdly funny and just a good
just complete fucking nonsense.
yeah, then go check out Axe Cop Out.
Yeah.
Oh man, when is it out, Will?
Oh jeez.
May 21st.
Yeah.
From Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Aaron, if you want to read a copy, I might know a guy. You know.
Hello.
It's in the email I sent to everybody.
Come on, we know people.
Oh, that's right. He did. Did you get the email he sent out for the show? I think he sent a copy of it on the email. I'll forward it to you.
Awesome.
We'll get you a copy, no worries. Don't tell anybody.
Great.
All right, Chad, you want to talk about Arrow?
Yeah, you know, we actually have a couple of things to talk about on Arrow, leading to a future guest and everything. I really like the way they finally tied it up. You know, especially the way the final scene really melded together, or the final scenes kind of melded together with the past. The way the fight scenes kept going back and forth.
Okay.
With Arrow.
I'm going to talk about the fight scenes real fast. When did Roy get trained? Did I miss that whole like
When did who?
years of him getting like
Oh,
going
Roy?
Arrow training and
He spent a little bit of time with him, at least, but I guess they're probably thinking that maybe, or at least assuming that we assume there was some time in between when he started training him and these events, you know, or the events that have transpired. Because these last few episodes, they have said were basic, for the most part, played in real time, kind of 24 style. So
Right.
I think it's the last 4 episodes have literally been consistent of like 2 days time or something like that. So if you go back when I think he started training Roy like 6 or 7 episodes ago, there may have been a month or two in there, but you know, who knows? I mean, he didn't do a ton, but yeah, he was a lot better than he was. And if you remember, I mean, I don't know if you remember too much of season 1, he had a lot of natural fighting talent, but without the Mirakuru. Yeah, he was a lot better fighter than I expected.
So, where do you think? What do you think what villain do you think she's gonna become in season 3?
Who's going to become which? Oh, his sister. You know what? I don't know. I didn't spend the time looking on semester boards to look for theories. I don't know. They're definitely gonna bring Dark Archer back. What the character from Doctor Who and Torchwood? What is his name? They just announced today that he's been made a series regular.
Yeah. So I think he's training her to become either Artemis, who is like a kind of girl Arrow, or Cheshire, who is like a evil like little girl too as well.
Isn't Artemis is the daughter of Taskmaster though, right? Isn't that who Artemis is?
Sportsmaster.
Sportsmaster
is from
yeah, okay,
Marvel.
but Sportsmaster, he's the daughter of Sportsmaster. I mean, that'd be
right, but I mean they've never been beholden to any kind of continuity. I don't think.
Yeah.
And shit, half his villains are from Batman.
Well, yeah. I mean that could be possible, or you know, something along those lines. But yeah, that'd be cool for her to go off and become a villain or something along those lines. I was very happy that they did not include anything to do with the Flash, like we talked about last week, and to which I said they wouldn't, because man, that preview for the Flash,
That show looks so good.
took my breath away.
So good.
Did anybody else see it?
No.
No.
How dare
No?
you? How
No,
dare you
no.
come on this show?
No.
Not watch the Flash.
But
Did you see the
but-
5 minutes?
Watch the original Flash.
it,
Oh, I love that show.
it looks so phenomenal. It looks like everything they've built and learned with Arrow, and they're making it better.
Hmm.
And it just, you know, and they did a 5-minute preview they released, I think it was today, this morning. And man, it's good. Will, put it on pause. Go watch that bad boy. I'm telling you, you will thank me. Or at least watch out. No, it's really, really good. They he has his team and everything, and I segue, I guess, into that. I know that was one of the things we were going to discuss was the Flash preview, but to not leave Arrow too soon, we actually booked for, I forgot the date. I can look it up here. Garfield Wilson, who was one of the Deathstrokes, the one who actually went into the police station and killed all the cops and everything. The big black guy that got himself arrested and was taken to the police station. He's going to be on the show, but he was also one of the MXs on Almost Human.
Nice.
So Darren kind of gave us an intro to him, and I've been talking to him. So he's going to come to the show in a few weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, he'll be fun. He seems like a really nice guy, and his attitude was great. He goes, "Man, I'd love to come on and talk. I've just been blessed to do some really fun roles. I'd love to come on and talk to you." He said he's a genre comic nerd as well. So I don't know how you can be as ripped as that guy is and be a comic nerd.
It's just exercise.
Well, I think he owns like a gym as well. Everything. So he's.
Well, when you're on the treadmill, you read comics.
That's true. You probably do. They could probably build that into the treadmill now, and just have a screen and everything.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
So he's going to be doing the show, which will be a lot of fun. Not as much fun as Erin, but we'll have to settle.
It might be awesome. You don't know until you've tried.
So one last thing on the Arrow tip. They mentioned
The
Superman.
arrow tip.
Oh.
That was good.
Oh, Casey. Casey.
Had to.
They mentioned Supermax. Are
Yes.
you guys familiar with Supermax?
A tiny bit. I'm not as big a comic nerd as you are.
So it's basically like an Uber prison, and I believe there's a storyline, or at least there was a movie in production at some point written by David Goyer, where Arrow was locked in Supermax, and the whole movie was him trying to escape.
Okay.
So that's where I actually thought the end of the episode would go, because technically they didn't leave the island, right, Chad?
Wait. Technically, they didn't leave the island on the end of Arrow.
On the end of Arrow. Did they ever get in the plane and actually leave?
They didn't show it. That's what. Actually, you're right. Thanks for reminding me. They're in Hong Kong at the end.
No. That was a flashback.
Yeah. No. During the flashback, they were, yes.
Right. Yeah. So I was really hoping that's how that was gonna lead. Like, oh, we all are on this plane together, and then we're gonna get back on the plane, but the plane blows up, and now we're all stuck on this island.
Oh, okay.
On Supermax. That's how I thought it was gonna end, but I don't think that's how it's gonna go, because he'll show up in the pilot of Flash.
Okay.
And actually, you see the scene in the 5-minute trailer.
Mm.
Did you see that?
Uh-uh.
There's a
I
5-minute trailer of Flash.
No, I watched the 5-minute trailer. I didn't see. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're on the rooftop and they're talking.
Stephen Amell. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking. You meant Deathstroke would show up. No, I saw where he was talking with Stephen Amell. Yeah, that was great. Where he was telling him, you're a symbol, you're a hero. Yeah, that was a fantastic. Kind of really set the tone for it.
Yeah, I really hope Flash is really gonna win me over if they introduce Gorilla Grodd. I'm all fucking in at that point. Because it looks like in the pilot episode we're gonna get Weather Wizard. But if you get me a super smart, giant talking gorilla, I mean, that's fucking game on.
I think a lot of people would be in at that point.
Well, I mean, the Professor Zoom is, I mean, he's the main, he's like Flash's Joker, I guess you would say, but not.
He's his arch nemesis.
But he's in the trailer as well.
Yeah, you could. Well, you don't. Yeah, well, when everything is. I mean, I said, a flashlight killed my mom or blah, blah, blah. All you see is yellow and red running around the room. So, yeah, you could tell.
Oh, did I just spoiler alert? Oh, sorry.
For what?
Spoiler for you guys didn't know.
Too late.
It's a trailer.
I know, but...
Are you seriously spoiler alert a trailer?
But that's like a famous comic storyline. Like, that's his origin story, is Professor Zoom killed his parents and he doesn't know what happened or anything.
Yeah.
Then he finds out in the future that it's a big time traveling woo-ha thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Professor Zoom is the evil Flash from the future, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, but that shows that they're going to be very adhering to the comic nature of the Flash, which I think is super important when you have a guy that can run faster than Superman, and it's a TV show. So, what did you give me that look for, Chad?
I'm not giving you a look.
All right. Do we have any movies we're going to talk about this week? Are we gonna go right into the big news and then we're gonna end it
I'd
up?
like to chat a little bit about movies because we got some good stuff coming out.
Okay. What have we got coming
Well,
up?
I mean, come on. I've been teasing. What movie have I been teasing because of embargo for?
I don't know, something about
Yeah.
some giant lizard. I don't know.
Yeah, some
Is it
big
Ninja
ass
Turtles?
lizard.
Lizard movie.
Ninja
King of all
Turtles?
kaiju.
You know, Ninja Turtles. When is that coming out? It's pretty soon.
Pacific Rim 2?
I need to try and get on the preview list for that.
Giant mutant ninja fighting
So
crocodiles.
Godzilla comes out tonight. When we drop this on Sunday, it will already have been out for a couple of days. And Casey, you know, we got trolled a little bit earlier from some Godzilla haters. Just some idiots that want to throw around it's going to be terrible and he's a fat lizard and whatever. And then, you know, me, you know, I just asked him, have you even seen it? No, but we know it's going to be horrible.
Oh God.
And I was like, but I've seen it and it was really good. Well, you're just saying that because you got a free movie.
Yeah.
So you don't win. So we let it go. It's just one of those things.
Let's be honest, Chad. It is how we put food on the table. So just
Yeah. Yeah, I probably spent $20 in gas to drive out there to see a movie I could have seen down the street for $10. So no, it definitely wasn't that. It's getting great reviews.
My mom would be happy to hear that. He's a huge fan of all the classic Godzilla movies. Like he loves Godzilla.
Well, and what's great about this movie, and I haven't been able to talk about it, so I'll spend a couple minutes. Is it does pay homage to the older Godzilla.
Awesome.
But what I like, and one of the only things I'm seeing complaints about is there's not enough monster. And when talking to Gareth Edwards, he was there at the screening, and some of the things that they talked about, most of the people really liked that.
Oh, talking to Gareth Edwards.
Hey, did you get the dustpan? Did you get the dustpan for all the names you had dropping again?
I dropped one name. Oh, well, I was there hanging out. I was watching the movie with Peter Sincota.
Me and Peter, it was so amazing.
Bryan Cranston was in front of me.
Well, no, Bryan Cranston wasn't there. But that was one of the things that he spoke about, was that it was very important to him that they told a story and then they kind of teased the monster, and it's more of a throwback to, and he specifically mentioned Jaws and some other ones, which from my childhood are some of my favorite movies. And one of the things you've heard me talk about in other podcasts is that I'm not a big slasher or gore fest or whatever, and in any kind of remake or anything, it's almost like, hey, we're going to take this excellent, amazing story, Halloween or something like that, and we're just going to make it way nastier and cut more throats and not move the camera, and so you never really have to think or feel or feel afraid or anything because it's all right in your face. Whereas Godzilla takes this excellent approach of you're really seeing or feeling or experiencing anxiety through the characters. So if the characters really haven't seen the monster, you as the audience hasn't. So you aren't this omnipresent camera angle where you know where everything's at and where this monster's, and it's gonna, that group better be scared because you're right there with that group huddled in, and when they close the door, you see a tail whip by, and and you don't know what's gonna happen, and you're in the scene with that huddled group of humanity that doesn't know what's going to happen, and then this gets ripped off, and it's one of those things to where I personally really enjoyed that experience versus the torture porn that a lot of cinema has gone to, with all they're going to do is show you huge kaiju or monsters or this that just beating the hell out of each other. I enjoyed Pacific Rim, but I think Pacific Rim, you became numb to it. They were just fighting the whole movie, and it was great, but after like the 20 minutes of it, you're just like, okay.
It brings the thrill back to a thriller.
Exactly.
You're thrilled.
Yeah, so you really, once you get to see those excellent shots of Godzilla, you're very, very excited. Last comment I will make about the movie, and if you guys have any quick questions about it, I'll answer them whatever I can, was when I was driving to when we were having lunch before the movie, I was asked. Right.
When me and Peter were having lunch before the movie.
When Peter and I was asking, and of course I was asking him because he did filming on it, and I asked him, I said, so Gareth Edwards has a big documentary. I mean, he's pretty much only done documentaries, and he did one feature film on a shoestring monster which was on a shoestring budget, and it had a very documentary feel to it as well. And I asked him, what do you think? I mean, some of the clips that I've seen make it feel like it's almost an account or a telling of if this was what you were experiencing, if you or I, if it happened in real life. And the movie is cinematic enough to where it doesn't feel like a special on the History Channel or whatever, but it basically does follow that vein to where you really are seeing through everybody's eyes or feeling through everybody's eyes of what it would be like for something like this to happen in the world.
That sounds awesome.
I enjoyed it. We're already getting tweets as I'm sitting here from some of our listeners that got a chance to watch it already, and it's all been positive, and and how much they loved it, because they were watching the little troll Twitter discussion earlier.
Whatever, Chad. They probably saw it for free too.
No, yeah, they must have. I'll give a shout out to Tamar. Hopefully, Tamar, I didn't mess up your name, but she's a big follower of ours and a great listener. And she went and saw it. She's been tweeting me pictures and saying how much she absolutely loved it. It's left her swooning. Ooh. So I think I loved it. Everybody I know that has actually seen it, not trolls that have just read reviews from their pal that may have seen a preview or two, has said that it's pretty fantastic. Like I stated before, in the theater, and Erin may know a lot of these guys because they go to cons and just like me and everything, but a lot of them kind of like to look for the negative in stories because they think that that's what's going to sell or get people to read their article. This is a room of those guys, and me and some others was cheering and clapping, and that was very telling to me.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Cheering. So, did you guys have any questions about it? I try to keep it as spoiler-free as...
Nope,
Did you like it, Chad?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It will end up in my Blu-ray collection.
Ooh.
The special edition, which better include Peter, because that was kind of a sad moment.
I should definitely take my man to go see that movie.
Yeah, you should. Absolutely.
Peter cut? Were you guys sitting there and he's like, I'm supposed to be right here? Oh, wait.
Well, that was one of the... No, see, and I didn't ask him for that. I waited till afterwards, and I was trying to pick him out. He's supposed to be in one of the scenes in Japan, and one of the the people that's dealing with the kaiju that gets killed. And they did, learning that, they ended up cutting out most of his scenes and the other actors' scenes. He did quite a bit of filming on it, and he's like, they paid me a good amount of money, so... whatever. But that was one of the reasons that I wanted to take him, because I know he's been kind of frothing at the mouth to see if his scenes have been hit the editing room floor, and they did. But I'm hoping special edition, you'll be back in there. But I told him if he keeps ending up in body bags, he's going to be typecast.
Right on. So I guess we're almost out of time, but I would be a terrible host and a terrible geek if we didn't talk about the big Twitter breaking news, internet breaking news that came out this week, the reveal of Ben Affleck as Batman. So who wants to give their 2 cents first?
Why don't you ask for a pro and a con? Is anybody con on this?
No.
Never mind.
No white eyes. Why can't they fucking put the white eyes in there?
My opinion is it's very hard to not make an opinion until after I've seen the movie, because I'm not the biggest fan of that gentleman in terms of acting. I think he's a brilliant director, but acting-wise, I feel I have been not as supportive as I could be. I'm trying not to judge it until after it's complete, because of course it takes a team to make a movie. It's not just all based on one actor, so he could just kill it and I would be like, oh, finally, something I love, and that would be great. I'm open to that possibility.
I don't think anybody else can say anything about it after that.
Yeah,
sure. That was... Thank you so much for being the voice of reason, because I know us and I know you. All we see all day long is trolls. I mean, those are the first people, and I was texting Casey like, man, that just the blogosphere is just losing its mind, being upset over everything. And I know there were several people
we haven't seen yet.
Well, exactly, and it was, oh my god, I hate this. This is the worst Batman suit ever. So then I pull up pictures out of the comics and I go, doesn't it
Frank
look
Miller.
exactly like this from Frank Miller?
It's Frank Miller.
And no, we all know that Val
Mhm.
Kilmer's suit was the worst Batman suit ever.
God.
So.
Well, no, I mean, people were saying that, and it's very obvious. They're not Batman fans. They just
Yeah.
want to say something for attention or whatever it is. I don't understand it. But then as soon as I start posting pictures of how similar it was to Jim Lee, which Casey pointed out to me, and then, of course, Frank Miller, which anybody who's a fan knew, especially with the big black bat, you know, and the costume and the way they
short
thickened him.
hair.
Yeah, the very stubby ears. People were complaining about that. But
Yeah.
those same people will go, man, I hear Batman The Dark Knight Returns, that's the best Batman book ever. But they don't seem to like understand the material or the character. It's just, ugh.
And
You know?
I'm like one of those people that I can't get Michael Keaton's Batman out of my system. I love that Batman. He's my
Yeah.
favorite Batman. The Tim Burton
sure.
movies I adore, and I know that it's because of the realism of the more recent Batmans that everyone's like, oh, they're just so cheesy. They're so this, but they're not to me. To me, their comic books come to life, like the way Burton did them. So I really enjoy the current ones as well. But it has a warm place in my heart. That kid in me that wanted it a little bit more. You know, well, granted, by the fourth one, I was like, "Oh God, please stop!" But
Yeah.
you know, when they didn't hold up to it for very long. But the first three, I really enjoyed.
Now, if you ever listen to podcasts, Kevin Smith, occasionally on his Fat Man on Batman podcast, has gone back and rewatched those movies, and he's the biggest Batman fan, encyclopedia,
Yeah,
one of the biggest ones in the world. He was actually just on the Batman 75-year panel, you know, and everything. Yeah, at WonderCon with, you know, all the biggest names in Batman, and they actually go back and watch. I think they've done the first 2 or 3 and commentate on it and how it hasn't really aged well. I know it's this nostalgia thing, but I know I go back and watch movies when I'm like, man, that's the best movie when I was a kid, and it's rough now, and just how brutal that Batman is, and how he really, I mean, they're just killing people left and right, and he's shooting people, and how just it's so different from the source material. Whereas these days, everybody wants to pick apart every little tiny thing. But back then, we kind of just swallowed it because it's, oh my God, Batman's on screen.
We just had fun with it. We were just happy to have the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious commentary. If you ever get a chance,
I would love to see that actually.
Oh, dying! Well, you just put it on the car when you're driving to the valley. You know, Fat Man on Batman. It's his
I will.
podcast.
Perfect. Thank you.
Chad, will you stop pumping other podcasts on our show?
Kevin Smith doesn't need a pump from
Jesus
me,
Christ.
please.
I
Anybody
love
listening to our show knows who Kevin Smith and Batman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I actually think at least the cowl and the cape are perfect. Like, you couldn't get any more perfect. It's very Jim Lee. That's the Jim Lee cowl right out of the comic book. Without the white eyes, which is unfortunate because I really think that's the thing that needs to separate a bat suit at some point, is he needs to have the white eyes, and they can make it very much like an Iron Man hub, because that's kind of what he has in the comic.
Yeah.
If you see that scene in Iron Man, it's the same thing. So
is it possible that we get it? Because I know I read something, and please tell me if I read something wrong, was that they confirmed that there will be multiple suits in this movie.
Right, but I think the multiple suit you're gonna get is the other suit from Dark Knight Returns, which is that like that armor. Right, definitely. I think that's the other suit they're talking about.
And you could get the white eyes there. I mean,
yeah, maybe.
Not the best scenario, but
the unfortunate thing about this whole thing to me is that they're really gearing this like this is going to be the Dark Knight Returns story that we all wanted, that we all been waiting for, and it's going to be very much heavily inspired by that comic book. But I thought this was a Superman movie. Like what? Like where's Superman in all this situation? Like what happened to that guy? Like I don't know, it's very weird to me. And then the fact that like you're setting this all up for a JLA movie or a Justice League movie right afterwards. So you're telling me Batman's gonna be the oldest member of the bunch, and it's gonna be surrounded by all these kids? It's gonna be it's weird. It's super weird. So like I don't understand the world they're building very well. And I guess I have to play that kind of wait and see like policy. I don't know. This movie worries the shit out of me. And the fact that they released their first promo image, and then he like was using it to sell a camera. Like,
yeah,
really,
this is from my Leica lens, blah,
blah,
blah.
Get the fuck out of here with your shitty Batman photo. Like, it's the worst picture ever. as a promo picture. Like the leaked images we got of the Batmobile were better pictures than the actual like official like look at Batman. I don't know. And
Well,
then
that
if it's not
Batmobile is straight out of the New 52 cartoons. It looks like if you watch Son of
Right.
Batman and stuff like that, it looks very
I
similar.
was thinking that. I was watching Doom this week, and I was like, oh, that's the Batmobile from the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I really hope. My biggest hope with the suit is when it does. I think they maybe didn't do the color because they want this to be a reveal. That it's actually gonna be like a blue color.
Mm.
Like we're gonna get a little bit of blue in there.
Hmm.
And that would be because otherwise, why release a photo like that? Like if it's just
Yeah,
gonna be a
that's
black and gray
black and white.
costume, why make it black and gray photo? Like no.
Yeah, hopefully we get some
Yourself
blue
in
and some
service.
light grays. That would be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So all right, that's enough talk. We're over an hour and a half at this point. We're getting there, so we gotta close up this shop because otherwise the file gets too big and I can't send it.
Why don't you
So
put it on Dropbox, Casey? Like I,
Dropbox. What am I, some kind of computer nerd?
Yeah.
it's
I know, I'm just joking. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll go around the horn. Everyone can plug their stuff, and we'll close up this little show. So, Erin, you want to go first since you are our guest? Plug away. Tell us what's coming up. And
Oh, I can't. I'm not allowed to talk about anything that's coming up, which is always great. But I will be on Combat Radio tomorrow. You guys are friends with Ethan and Combat Radio, so I'm gonna be there tomorrow.
and you're a regular on Combat Radio, right?
I am blessed to get to go hang out there all the time. I think it's an extended show. It's their anniversary, so I'm going to be there 11:30 till 1 tomorrow. Combat Radio.
Awesome.
Beautiful. So if you didn't get enough of Erin tonight, go
Yeah.
check her out on Combat Radio tomorrow.
Erin, I hope you're there when I go on.
I hope. Are you going to be there between 11:30 and 1?
Well, no, not tomorrow, but I mean, I'm going to be on the show pretty soon.
Maybe. Ask him.
Yeah.
Just tell him to tell me, or just text me and tell me to show up. I'll just.
Erin.
Or just pick her up on the way, Will.
Yeah, just
I'm on, Erin, let's go.
4:05.
Where are you?
Carpool. Boom.
No time to explain. Let's go.
Erin, where can we find you on social media and such?
Oh, yeah, at Erin Fitzgerald on Twitter or at Erin Fitzbadass. I do run both of those Twitters. One is my Tumblr and Facebook feed, and the other is just my main Twitter where I post everything. And then I have a Facebook fan page. I do have a Tumblr. I do have an Instagram, Erin Fitzbadass, I think. Yeah, so I'm on social media. You just Google me and it's there. If you want to know my credits, Wikipedia is the most accurate. Definitely.
Yeah, and you.
So,
Sorry.
my website.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, crap. I have a website. ErinFitzBadass.com.
Beautiful.
Now, Erin,
Mhm.
and you can lie to me.
Okay.
Did you have fun tonight?
It was terrible. It was the worst interview I've ever done.
I said you could lie to me.
Oh,
Can
no,
I just tell
actually,
you
it was
guys how
really
dumb
great.
I am?
This is fun. I've never done the Google Hangout interview, and it's fun because I can actually watch you guys,
Yeah.
and I can watch you listening to each other, and I can feel like I'm sneaky, like,
Yeah.
I get to see how you really feel because I can see it on your face. Pretty fun. I don't understand how the switching the cameras things works, but other than that, it's pretty fancy.
Whoever's
Darn right.
talking, yeah, it's Otto, or Casey, who's running it, can click on it and bear. Well, I mean, that's other stuff. But I
Cool.
bet, and Andrew will probably take the word back. They would probably like to have you on the video game podcast sometime.
I'm down
We would
anytime. I
love
totally
to have you.
I would love that.
All
Man,
right.
that would be awesome.
So-
but you have to play
You'll
Dragon's
see how a
Den.
real podcast is run.
Yeah, yeah, they're on it. So they're
So
not.
you guys
They're
know
not.
how dumb I am? So the whole time I thought Erin was sitting in front of her TV and it's a window.
I saw lights.
Yeah. There's cars driving by or something.
And I thought my eyes were bad. Come on, man.
I know. I'm like an idiot. I'm like, is she sitting in front of her TV?
I
Oh wait,
wanted
no, I
it
think
to
that's a
be
car.
by an open window, so
All right. Will, do you have any plugs?
Do I have any plugs? Real quick, Erin, I just wanted to say you made my girlfriend's year when she bought a signed Monster High doll from you. at the Tulare Sci-Fi Con. Thank you for coming to that small. Yeah, I was there. I was
remember.
Tony Stark, remember?
That was awesome. Yeah, I do remember. I do remember.
Plug, this weekend I will be in San Jose for the Big WoW Comic Festival, and we're going to be immersing ourselves in all things geek. I'm going to attempt to do some interviews for us. Maybe some really cool people are going to be there. So we'll check it out. If you see me, say hi, come grab a photo, whatever. See you there.
So
Thank you, sir.
who are you going to attempt to interview? I know I asked you to try and interview Neil Adams.
Yeah, he did. I honestly haven't heard anything back from them at all regarding if I was set up to do interviews or not. I've sent them an email, so I'm waiting to hear back. But
You just got to show up, man.
yeah, just
be right there.
Don't start
Like,
demanding
hey,
things.
Yeah.
No, you have to be nice about it, like I am. Just like, hey, if you got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Interview Gail
Hey,
Simone now.
hey,
Let's do it.
Hey, yeah, that's how I got all those interviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Cool.
all odd. You gotta have a hookup. We'll hook you up. Well, don't worry.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. Well, just let me know what comic people are going to be there, what vendors, and I'll we'll hit up their PR people for you.
Awesome. Okay. Cool.
Sorry, business talk. Business talk on the podcast. All right, Chad, plug away. Sure, there's a review you want to talk about.
Oh, I don't know what review I was talking about then when I said that. We just went and saw Sci-Fest Evening B. I'll put up a review. Hopefully, it'll be up before this podcast. That should be on the website. It was a lot of fun. The second act or second night of plays was a lot more dramatic, and then the last couple were comedic. Dying of laughter. So it was a lot of fun. Natalie and her boyfriend went with us, and we had a great evening. We got to hang out with some hobnobbing TV stuff. I'll wait for Natalie to talk about that next
I
week.
almost got off the dustpan again, but I'll put it away.
Hey, you know what? And that's one of the reasons I love having Natalie around. She's, it's that lower your guard. So female actors, and they're talking. This girl who has like 40,000 followers doesn't follow anybody. Is already following Natalie, and they want to set up something where they hang out and dress up as Disney princesses and stuff. And we're just it's gonna be fun. So, yeah, that'll be fun if that happens. Like they exchange phone numbers.
Dad just takes Natalie and goes and pushes her to people and goes, "Go talk to them. Go."
I do. Not so much pushes them, but I and my wife, she's over here reminding me that she was right there helping as well. But yeah, it's definitely nice to have daughters and wives and female contributors and stuff. It helps take people lower their guard, that we're not just nerds or geeks that want to jump all over them. So, but that was a lot of fun. That's probably really all I have to talk about this week.
And everybody go check out Chad's review on Godzilla, out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew, you want to plug the video game stuff?
Yeah, well, we've actually got a whole bunch of stuff coming up from quite a few new contributors that we found over Twitter. So, if you're interested in writing for Geeks with Wives, either the capes, the cosplay, the video games, anything else, movies, TV, if you want to make something up, we'll be happy to pull you onto the team and help you out and get you on the site. But we've got stuff coming up from retro video games. We've got some perspective and opinions on Mario Kart coming up, the relative cost of gaming and when games are worth it, when systems are worth it, cost-wise. So a lot of really fun, interesting, cool stuff coming up that you should absolutely check out.
You getting Mario Kart Day 1?
If my wife says I am, then yes.
Oh, Andrew, put your foot down on that shit.
Speaking of contributors, if you could, when you're closing things up, the shop up there, Casey, if you could throw a couple of shout-outs to some of our newest contributors, I'm sure that'd be...
Okay, you may have to remind me who they are, because
Okay, I'll do it then. We've been growing leaps and bounds over the last few months. I mean, with writers and contributors and I think through our enthusiasm, mine, Casey's, Andrew's, Will's.
It's more like, I have 1,000 comics to read, and I cannot do this all by myself. Please.
Not just comics, but I mean, like I said, the cosplay. We actually have with Alicia Bellamy and Natalie a cosplay shoot set up for this weekend to kind of see how that's going to start working in the LA area. So hopefully we'll be starting to grow the cosplay areas and comic areas, and really just attracting people to want to work and contribute more with us and our site. Derek Nelson, Sean Washington, Dre, I don't want to go through his whole Mexican sounding name for a black dude.
Antonio Williams. I was gonna ask him. I was
Antonio.
like, why do you get Dre from Antonio Williams? But
It's like Antonio Andre Williams or something like that, and he's Dre. But good. We've developed through this great relationships with them and their podcast and their website, and they're starting to contribute with us. But yeah, just please check our website. Things are growing on a daily basis. Just all the stuff we want to be able to get out to you.
Don't forget Enrique Rea, who puts stuff up for us every week, and Chris Peary, who actually is almost exclusively doing New Worlds comics, and then which is kind of a small independent comic company. They only have 2 books out, and he loves their stuff. So make sure you guys go check out New Worlds comics. I believe the comics they put out are Goof, which is like a fun superhero, like funny book, and the other one is called Winter, which is like a very high concept sci-fi book. So go check those out, and those reviews are on the site as well for issues 1 and 2. Yeah, thanks to all of our new contributors. It's super nice, and like I said, it takes a huge workload off of me because I feel like that means that's 10 more comics I don't have to read and talk about, and my wife doesn't get mad at me that I'm just reading comics and talking about comics all day long. So it's a help. So thank you guys.
You can tell your wife. You can tell your wife I said you're welcome.
I know. Yeah, I did. She's happy that Chad's in my life now. Yeah, and also like I said, like the more people we get writing, the more stuff it kind of frees us up to do other things and other creative venues. Like hopefully I have some ideas about some video stuff that we want to get going, but we need editors and people that are good with video editing and putting that stuff together. So if you guys are all interested in working with Geeks with Wives in any aspect of content production or whatever, please let us know. Granted, we cannot pay you yet, but we can certainly give you the experience and knowledge that you need to succeed and take that knowledge and stuff to other positions. Like for example, I started writing with Geeks with Wives, and now in my job I'm a copy editor, and I got that job because of Geeks with Wives. So it works the same way. And Erin will tell you have to work for free for years before you get paid for something, right, Erin?
Well, it doesn't mean that before you get paid, but I get paid now, and I still work for free. There's something about that inflow and outflow. If you're working for free, doing what you love, that means that you're opening the possibility for more abundance in different areas. So I think that work for free is a really important part of the process.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Andrew, I think we cut you off. Are we done plugging yourself?
I am done plugging myself.
Okay.
Yeah, we better wrap it up.
All right, we gotta get out of here. So make sure everyone goes and checks out Geeks with Wives. Tons of stuff up there. I mean, we're producing content like it's nobody's business, and it's all unique to us. No one else is putting out stuff like we are. I guarantee it. So make sure you guys go check it out. And Will, get us out of here.
As always, thank you for listening. You can find me at Darth Sparrow on Twitter, and you can find us on Twitter for the whole show at GWW Capes Crew. And thank you to Erin for joining us tonight. And as always, we will catch you on the geek side.